All right, let's talk about it. Speaking in tongues. You've probably heard of it, right? For some people, it's this incredibly powerful part of their faith. For others, it's a total mystery. It's got to be one of the most fascinating and honestly, most misunderstood topics out there. So let's just cut through all the confusion, go straight to the source, and figure out what it is, what it isn't, and why we're still talking about it today. So yeah, this is the big question. What is it exactly? Is it a real language that you could find on a map? Is it some kind of secret prayer code? Is it a sign that you're like super spiritual and something everyone should be doing? Well, to get the real answer, we have to go right back to the very beginning.
Okay, so the first time we ever see this happen, it just explodes onto the scene in the book of Acts. I mean, try to picture this. You're in a small prayer meeting, and suddenly the whole place is rocked by what sounds like a hurricane. And in that exact moment, people start speaking in languages they have never, ever learned. It's just, wow, a really dramatic way to kick things off.
Now, this whole thing didn't just happen in a vacuum. The setting is so important to understanding it. We're in Jerusalem, and the city is absolutely packed for this huge festival called Pentecost. You've got visitors from all over the Roman world, an incredible international crowd speaking dozens of different languages. So the stage is perfectly set for what's about to happen.
And here's the first thing you have to get. This wasn't just random noise or gibberish. No, these were real, actual human languages. You had people in the crowd from places like Parthia and Rome, and they were just floored, hearing their own native languages being spoken perfectly. The purpose was crystal clear: to supernaturally smash through language barriers to get a message out.
But here's the thing. If you stop there, at Pentecost, you're only getting half the story. Because years later, the Apostle Paul is writing to a church in a city called Corinth, and he reveals this whole other side to the gift, one that has nothing to do with speaking to a big crowd at all.
And this is where we see the two different types, kind of side by side. On one hand, you've got the public tongues, like what happened at Pentecost, real languages meant for a crowd. But then, Paul talks about private tongues, an unknown language used for your own personal prayer life, meant to build you up. So two very different functions, all from the same spiritual gift.
Paul is super direct about it. He just says, the one who speaks in a tongue builds up himself. And that one sentence just shifts the whole focus, doesn't it? It goes from being all about the crowd to being all about the individual and their own spiritual growth. So when he says builds up, he's talking about edification. And that's really just a word for being strengthened, refreshed, and encouraged in your spirit. It's got nothing to do with ego. Paul saw this as something really valuable for a person's private walk with God. You can almost think of it like a spiritual workout for your soul.
And then Paul adds this other really cool detail. He says when someone is praying this way, they're not even trying to talk to other people. They're speaking mysteries in the Spirit directly to God. It's a one-on-one connection, you know? Straight up from you to God.
Okay, so this is where it gets personal. This is the big question that, let's be honest, can cause a lot of stress and anxiety for people. If this private prayer gift is so valuable, is it for everyone? Is every single Christian supposed to have it?
And what's great is that Paul totally saw this question coming. He doesn't dance around it. He just puts it right out there in his letter, do all speak in tongues. So, what's his answer?
The answer, right from the text, is a simple, straight-up no. And what's really fascinating is that in the original Greek language, the way he phrases the question is designed to get a no answer. There's no gray area. It's very clear. So the next obvious question is, why not?
Well, he explains it with this amazing analogy. He compares the church to a human body. And think about it. A body can't just be one giant eyeball or one massive foot, right? That'd be pretty weird and not very useful. The whole strength of a body is that it has a bunch of different parts working together.
And that body metaphor is the key. Just like your body needs eyes and hands and feet to work right, the church needs all kinds of different spiritual gifts. The Spirit gives gifts of mercy, teaching, administration, hospitality, and yeah, tongues is on that list, but it's just one on a long list of equally vital parts.
So here's the big takeaway, and this is really important. If you don't have this specific gift, it absolutely does not make you a second-class Christian. Not even close. It doesn't mean you missed out. It just means you've been gifted in a different way to play a different role that's just as crucial for the whole community.
Okay, so that was all written like 2,000 years ago. What in the world does any of it have to do with us, right now in the 21st century? Is this gift even still a thing? Let's bring it into the modern day.
A lot of people believe this gift just kind of fizzled out after the first apostles died, but that's actually not what the historical record shows. It's been documented, popping up again and again in different movements and by different church leaders throughout the centuries, all the way up to today.
Paul was also super practical. He laid out some simple, common-sense rules for how this gift should be used when people are gathered for worship. It's pretty straightforward. If someone speaks out loud in a tongue, there has to be an interpretation, so that everybody can understand and benefit. And if there's no one there to interpret, well, then they should just keep it between them and God. It's all about keeping things orderly and helpful, not confusing.
So, let's boil it all down. What's the bottom line for us today? For you as an individual, it's simple. If you have this gift, that's awesome. Use it. If you don't, celebrate the gifts you do have. For churches, it's about making room for all the different gifts to be used, without putting one on a pedestal. And for everybody, the ultimate goal isn't to just collect cool spiritual gifts, it's to use whatever you've been given in a spirit of love.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Maybe, for all this time, we've been asking the wrong question. Maybe the most important question isn't, what gifts do I have? But instead, with whatever I've been given, whether it seems big or small, public or private, how am I using it to actually love people? Because in the end, that's the real measure, isn't it?